We have now reached the very last part of the opening section of the wasteland. Let me read the first line of this part, which in fact consists of only two words: unreal city. The unreal city is, of course, London. The London of T.S. Eliot, the London of 1921. But somebody else before Eliot had called some other city unreal city. Charles Baudelaire, the 19th century French poet, had called Paris unreal city. Thus we have reached contemporary London via 19th century Paris. It has indeed been a very long and extraordinary journey. Beginning in ancient Greece, the cradle of Western civilization, through ancient Rome, through the medieval Italy of Dante Alighieri, through the medieval England of Geoffrey Chaucer, through Wagner's Germany, through the Bavarian city of Munich, where the Hofgarten or the court garden is located, through the Paris of Charles Baudelaire, we have at last reached London, contemporary London, only to realize that it is an unreal city. Why is London unreal city? You must remember that London is part of the wasteland. I think we should make London the capital of the wasteland. London is unreal city because its inhabitants are spiritually dead. Their lives are meaningless. Their routine is mechanical. They exist on the lowest possible plane, under the brown fog of a winter dawn. Fog is a thick cloud of tiny water droplets suspended in the atmosphere, restricting our visibility. There is the saying, the London fog is not the British weather. London is notorious for its fogs. Dawn is early morning. A crowd flowed over London Bridge. So many I had not thought death had undone so many. One is reminded of the line used by Dante Alighieri to describe the crowds in Inferno. By a single stroke, T.S. Eliot collapses the long distance between the Inferno of Dante Alighieri and the London of 1921. London becomes Inferno. The crowds in the city are crowds of spiritually dead persons. They are soulless persons who follow dull routines, who lead pointless lives, whose very existence is tormented. It is clear that T.S. Eliot is here drawing upon his own personal experience of working in London as a bank clerk. He looks around and finds people whose very existence is suffering. King William Street is mentioned. This is the very street through which T.S. Eliot used to walk in order to go to his office. The church of Saint Mary Woolnoth is also mentioned. This is a grand church. This is a grand Anglican church built in the 18th century. When the church bell rings at 9 o'clock, it means that crucifixion is begun for each of these bank clerks, cashiers, businessmen, for their working day has begun. It is significant that 9 o'clock was also the time at which Jesus Christ was crucified. Thus, we are provided with a brilliant overlapping picture of London and Inferno. London merging into Inferno. London becoming Inferno. Now we come across two very arresting lines. There I saw one I knew and stopped him, crying, Stetson, you who were with me in the ships at Mile. Stetson. Stetson is the name of a hat. At one point of time, John B. Stetson, the American hat making company, was the biggest hat maker in the world. A Stetson is a broad brimmed hat. By extension, anybody who wears a Stetson can be a Stetson. Stetson hats were mostly worn by cowboys, by laborers, by miners. So, a Stetson is just any man. There I saw one I knew and stopped him, crying, Stetson. The speaker, identified with Tiresias, comes across a person known to him. He stops him and cries out the person's name, and the name is Stetson. You who were with me in the ships at Mile. Mile, the Battle of Mile, is one of the famous battles of the Punic War. It took place in BC 260. The battle was fought between Rome and Carthage. Tiresias and Stetson were participants in the battle. What is the poet trying to convey? After the conclusion of the Great War, the whole land was full of individuals who had been demobilized. Stetson is an example. But why does the poet use the term Mile? instead of using the name of a battle which had been part of the First World War. This is in order to make it clear that not much has changed in this world since BC 260. Ultimately, all battles are one battle. All wars are one war. And Stetson has taken part in a battle. It matters little whether the battle is the Battle of Mile or a battle which is part of World War One. The crops you planted last year in your garden, has it begun to sprout? Will it bloom this year? The darkness generated by the first section of the wasteland is indeed very thick. But even in that darkness, there is a silver lining. The corpse has been buried, as any corpse has to be buried. After all, the title of the section is The Burial of the Dead. But the question is, has the corpse begun to sprout? Will it bloom this year? The point that the speaker is trying to make is that after death there is regeneration. After death there is revival. The question before us is, will this regeneration, will this revival take place?